Hello everybody, it's me, Bryson P, and welcome to another video. Today, we're going to be checking out the average American versus the average European. How do they compare? Well, we're going to be comparing through the infographic show, and they're going to be talking about who makes more money, who lives longer, how much vacation does each have, how much in debt does each go for their education, different things like that. So, again, that's what we're doing today. That's what we're going to be checking out. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And let's just jump straight into it.
The United States of America was officially formed on July 4th, 1776, when 13 states declared their independence from the Kingdom of Great Britain. This was centuries after this region, which was part of what was then called the New World, was officially discovered by Italian explorer Christopher Columbus. In the centuries that followed, European settlers would arrive in droves, with many of the first expeditions arriving from Spain, but later from France, Germany, Holland, Scotland, and England, among other European nations claiming some slice of the American pie. Today, many US citizens have European ancestry, while not necessarily sharing much in common with their long-lost kin. Thomas Jefferson may have once famously written in the Declaration of Independence that all men are created equal, but we thought it would be fun to see how equal, in some respects at least, the modern US citizen is now with the modern EU citizen in this episode of the infographic show, the average American versus the average European.
Cool. So I do want to say real quick that I honestly don't know my own heritage, like my genealogy, things like that, Ancestry. I really don't know. I don't really know where my family comes from, where, you know, that bloodline goes back to, what country we might have came from. And I really don't know. I honestly do not know. And I believe my grandmother had tried a couple times, but really didn't go too far into it. I believe, if I'm correct. So it would be interesting maybe one day to do something where, you know, I could find out my ancestry or find out really where my heritage comes from and where I'm originally from, right? I mean, it's something neat and for all of us to learn and for all of us to really learn about ourselves and our history. It's a big thing in this world, too. We need to understand history. We really do.
First of all, to give us some idea of how much European there is flowing through the American bloodstream, let's take a look at America's largest European ancestry groups. According to the Census Bureau, approximately 49 million Americans said they had German ancestry, 36 million Irish ancestry, 27 million English ancestry, 18 million Italian ancestry, 10 million Polish ancestry, 9 million French.
Now, I do think that my grandmother at one point said, I believe we had Italian, a lot of Italian. But that's what I remember her telling me at one point. I don't know if that's true or not, but since they said Italian, it kind of made me think of that, and I do remember that for sure, but I couldn't tell you.
6 million Scottish, 5 million Scotch-Irish, 5 million Dutch, 4 million Swedish, and 3 million Russian. Other large groups include Welsh, Czech, Hungarian, Portuguese, Danish, and Greek, while many people were also described as mixed ancestry. With this Euro connection in mind, how much does the average American have in common with the average EU citizen? Let's start with some basics. The median age, meaning that half the population is younger and half the population is older, is 42.7 in the EU and 37.9 in the US. Life expectancy in the EU is 82.4 years for women and 76.6 years for men. American women on average will live to 81.94 years and American men 77.11.
So is there a reason though, like just on this, is there a reason like say in the EU that women live longer than women here, but yet men live longer here than there? But it's really not much of a difference. I mean, it's fractions of a difference, right? Not even a whole.
When it comes to making babies, American women are slightly more active, with the average number of births per woman being 1.84, and European women giving birth to an average of 1.58 children. Just to clarify here, this doesn't mean women are miraculously bearing partial 0.58 humans, rather it's just an average taken from the female population and the number of births.
Right.
Let's now look at some physical attributes.
Let's be logical.
The average height for an American man is 5 foot 9.5 inches, while collective data for the entire EU is hard to come by. Europe, however, has some of the tallest people in the world, with the Dutch coming in at an average height of 6 feet for men. Dutch women are also at the top with an average height of nearly 5 foot 7 inches, whereas American women on average are 5 foot 4 inches tall. In fact, most member countries of the EU have a greater average height than that of Americans.
Well, I guess that means I'm an average American according to this, because that's pretty much right at where I'm at. Sorry, 9'5.5". Jesus, if that was 9'5.5", we'd have some major issues in this place. 5'9", 5'9.5", 5'10", depending on the shoes and depending on different days, you know. But yeah, right on par.
That cannot be said about body weight, with America regularly coming in the top 5 countries in the world for average weight. The average male in the US weighs 194.7 pounds and the average female 165 pounds. The UK has the heaviest people in Europe at 185 pounds for men and 152 pounds for women. This is about the same as the land of giants, Holland, even though the average UK nationals are much shorter. Now that we've looked at mortality and the body, let's delve into money matters. Americans are generally thought to be a hardworking bunch of people, culturally ambitious, and with a penchant for wanting to come first. This might be reflected by the fact that the USA has the most billionaires in the entire world at 565, one of whom, Microsoft's co-founder Bill Gates, being the richest of them all with a fortune of around $87 billion. By comparison, the EU is...
Now, we also got to say that since this video is, I believe, from 2017, so it's a few years old, that man right there, Bill Gates, is not the richest person in the United States anymore. I believe it should be Jeff Bezos still. It was for quite a while, and it should still be, which is the founder, one of the founders for Amazon, right? He's no longer the CEO, chairman of Amazon. He has stepped down, but he is still one of the richest, and if not, then believe the richest person in the United States at the moment.
Home to 489 billionaires, with the richest being Spanish business magnate Amancio Ortega, who is worth around $85.8 billion. But what about the average Joe among us? According to polls, the median gross wage for workers in the US per household was $43,585 per year, which is the 6th highest in the world. The highest median gross wage in the world per household was...
Now, I did talk about this in my other video about American education. Hang on, let's go forward real quick before I say this.
Luxembourg at $52,493 per year, with 2 other EU nations also above the US in Sweden and...
Oh, okay. I would say yes, that's very appropriate. The average wage household, 43, around there, between 40 and 60 is going to be right around there. Now, what I was getting at was, in my other video about the American education system, they talked about how the most average American families, I believe is how he worded it, couldn't afford private education. And I blatantly said that's just not going to happen because, like I said, I personally make more than double the national minimum wage, okay? And my ex-wife makes more than double the national minimum wage, all right? So, together combined, we make more than this right here, this $43,585, okay? And together, we still cannot afford to put both of our kids in private school because it costs between $17,000 to $22,000 a year. So, right there, if we're making combined, let's just say combined, her and I both make $60,000, okay? Well, whenever one kid is $17,000, okay? Right there, that's $17,000. What's 17 plus 17 to 34? Yeah, I'm an American. I do know math a little bit, but $34,000. That's pretty much over 50% of our income, and that's gross. That's not even after tax, right? So explain to me how the average American can do with putting their children in private schools. Whenever I'm telling you, it's you can, and a lot do, but it's just not a common that anybody and everybody can do it. I don't care what that dude said in my other video, and you can check that out and you'll see my remarks there too. It's time-stamped. If you do want to find it, you can check it out.
A year, with 2 other EU nations also above the US in Sweden and Denmark. In terms of income tax paid, the US is below many EU member countries. The average income tax paid in the US is 22.7% of earnings, with the highest country in the world being EU member Belgium at a whopping 42.8%. How does this affect the quality of life?
So 42.8% in Belgium. If I'm correct, short-term capital gains tax in the United States on like stocks, bonds, anything like that, even winning the lottery, gambling, any type of short-term capital gain, which is where you've earned it with less than a year, right, within less than 12 months. So those short-term capital gains tax, I believe whenever you get over $200,000 or $250,000 is whenever it gets to about 42 to 45%. So that gives you an idea. You'd have to make around $250,000 a year before you get to that that level of income tax for us.
Standard of living is a difficult thing to judge, and wherever you look, lists will differ. For example, the USA's gross national income, the spending power of the individual, is only behind the EU country of Luxembourg. Standard of living is another matter. Again, lists differ, but almost always the best standard of living top 10 countries is dominated by EU countries and other European nations, with Canada, New Zealand, and Australia also in the running. EU countries also ranked highly on the World Happiness Report 2017, with 5 EU member states being in front of 14th placed America. Many of these countries also rank highly regarding.
So you're saying that America is ranked 14th in happiness? I could see that. We definitely have some issues right now going on, don't we? We definitely have some issues going on right now. Morally, ethically, emotionally, religiously, police. Anything I left out?
Regarding a very expensive cost of living, which may seem confusing given they are reportedly so happy. Some factors may help explain this. The highest healthcare
there's an ad starting
in the world go to, you guessed
We're
it,
back.
the United States. Americans also work very hard for a highly developed country. It's stated that the USA is in 13th place in terms of working the most hours, and while some EU members are above the US, there are poorer EU members that rank low on standard of living and happiness indexes. Taking paid annual leave into account, the EU states by law that each worker should have at least 4 weeks of paid vacation.
Would love it.
There is no such law in the US, and the decision is left to the employer.
None.
The
We don't
average
get
is
any.
around 10 days per year in the US.
No, I've told you guys that yeah, we don't. We might as well get none because I barely ever have taken vacation, and we don't really get many vacation days. Just don't. I wouldn't even know what to do with myself if I had 4 weeks a year of paid vacation. I wouldn't even know what to do. I really wouldn't. I mean, right now I literally get 5 per year, and that was starting out this company. Prior to this company that I work for now, I started out my first 2 years I was there, I only got 2 days per year. So I had 2 days vacation, and then my second year I had 2 days vacation, and then my third year is when I finally got up to my 5. So yeah, I wouldn't even know what to do with myself with 4 weeks of vacation.
Far lower than in the EU.
I'd probably look like this guy, hanging out with some friends, out in the woods camping, not sitting at a desk.
The average paid vacation time in the US after 20 years service at one company is 20 days. Many EU countries also have more or the same public holidays as Americans enjoy. The US is also a fairly expensive place to receive a university education, with a report in 2015 stating that the average student debt in America was $29,000. Still, this was much lower than England, whose students will owe almost double that amount after graduation.
Oh my gosh. So I've been paying on my student loans since 2012, I believe. Since around 2012, I've been paying on student loans. Currently, I still owe about $11,000 left. Now, my brother, I have an older brother, and it's kind of the first time I've actually mentioned him to you guys, but I do have an older brother. He's 5 years older than me, and he recently, within the last year, graduated as a actual PharmD, has his pharmacist and all that, and I believe he's over $200,000 in student loans. He is over $200,000 US dollars in debt just graduating school. You know, he's gonna be paying on that for a while.
EU countries such as France, Germany, Spain, Italy, Belgium, and the Czech Republic have very small tuition fees, while in Denmark, Sweden, and Finland, university is free. The US, however, has a lower household debt to GDP than many Euro nations, including big borrowers Denmark, the Netherlands, Britain, and Sweden. A 2017 report puts the USA in 10th place for household debt to GDP. So, what do these countries get for their money? Well, Americans enjoy living in much bigger houses on average than any country in the EU, with the average house size being around 2,000 square feet, second only to Australia, according to a 2015 report. Denmark has the biggest houses in the EU at around an average of 1,500 square feet per house, while the UK is only around 800 square feet on average.
That's not
Americans
bad.
Also
I mean, I believe we lived in a house when I was married. My ex-wife, 2 kids. We lived in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and I think it was like right at 1,000 square foot, somewhere around there. I mean, it's not anything crazy. So, but yeah, there are some very nice houses, and we do have big houses. That is one thing us Americans have is big houses.
have more motor vehicles per person, being the third biggest vehicle owners in the world according to a 2014 report. With 797 vehicles per 1,000 people, excluding two-wheelers, only Luxembourg comes close to the US, and most EU countries are far behind. Where else?
Yeah, I'm 29, like I've told you guys. I'm 29 years old, and let's see, I've had a Toyota Camry, I've had a Lincoln LS, I've had 2 Honda Preludes, I've had 2 motorcycles, a Camaro, a Ford Fusion, a Ford Explorer, and currently sitting out here is a 2016 Chevy Colorado Z71. So, I mean, I guess I'm sitting here talking about how we can't afford private education, but yet we can afford big houses and a bunch of cars, right? But I only have one vehicle now, and I'm giving you guys a rundown of every car that I've had. I'm 29, so I got my first vehicle when I was 16. So, I mean, it was 13. So, in 13 years, I've had 10 different vehicles.
Where else does the money go? Well, quite a lot on entertaining oneself. Whether drowning tears or living la vida loca, a lot of money earned is spent on alcohol. The Europeans are easily the world's most formidable drinkers, with Eastern Europe topping the charts of alcohol consumption per capita in the world, and almost all EU countries drinking more than the USA, except for Italy and Sweden.
Now, I don't drink, really. I mean, I'll have a beer every now and then, maybe twice a year I'll drink a beer, and it's very, very rare. I'm just not, I've never been one for alcohol. You know, as a teenager, of course, but as an adult, I'm just not one for alcohol. You know, if it's for you, it's for you. Everybody's got their thing. Me being a recovering addict and having addiction issues in my life, not towards alcohol. I've never had an issue with alcohol, but it's just things that I need to stay away from because, you know, it's better for myself and it's better for other people, right? You know, not that I'm a bad person or an angry person or anything like that, but I'm under the influence of alcohol. Mostly other drugs, but I just don't like alcohol. It just, I don't know.
Eastern Europe is also the cheapest place to drink, with Slovakia and the Czech Republic selling beers at an average of $1.50 from bar to supermarket, compared to a US average of more than double that. Finally, let's talk about love. In many EU countries, marriage rates have fallen.
Now, if you go to a baseball game here, a baseball game is like $7 a beer. I believe we went to the Tennessee Titans football game back in December of 2020, so 5 months ago at this point. We went there, and a beer there for like a 16 ounce or 20 ounce was, I think, $8 or $9.
Dramatically, but this has to some extent become a global phenomenon. The average age of men and women in the US getting married is 29 and 27 respectively, which is considerably lower than just about all countries in the EU, whose couples often wait until well after 30. In the US in 2015, a report states that 6.8 per 1,000 people tied the knot, which was considerably higher than most European countries, with the EU average at 4.5 in 2015.
Just curious when you might have got married? Because yes, this is the average, 29, 27, right? 6.8 per 1,000, all that. For me, like I said, I've got some crazy stories. I've got a lot of crazy, just weird things. And if you subscribe and you follow me and whatnot, which if you do, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much, and I love you. You'll know I'm just an odd person, but I got married while still in high school, right? So my senior year in high school, we were still literally sitting in class doing our work with the teacher and legally married. So, yeah.
The divorce rate that year in the EU was 2.0, almost half of the marriage rate. The US had a similar rate of marriage to divorce at 3.6. If not marrying, people haven't stopped sleeping with each other, but the Europeans, according to a survey by Durex, are doing it a lot more.
Really?
The survey stated that the most sexually satisfied countries in the EU were Spain, Italy, Greece, the Netherlands, and Germany, with the USA data showing a low rate of satisfaction compared to most EU countries. As for first-timers, only the EU countries of Britain, Austria, Germany, and Czech Republic have a younger age in which people lose their virginity, with the USA being a fraction higher than those countries at age 18.4. On the topic of love, we come to the end of today's comparison.
Alright, so that was the infographic show version of the average American versus the average European and how do they compare. I think we definitely learned some good information, and I definitely have learned some things that I didn't know. And hopefully, again, I told you guys some stuff that, you know, is maybe something you haven't heard before or wouldn't think is the way that it is here in America, or that's just some of the things that we have going on here, right? Everything is so different in every country, in every state, in every part of this world, and it's very interesting to have the opportunity in today's world and technology of the internet to be able to sit here and interact not only, with you guys talking to you and then commenting back and forth, but also being able to watch these videos and learn more about other countries and learn more about the different cultures and things. I would love more than anything to be able to travel, to go to different countries and visit, and actually have the time to really dive deep into the culture, experience the food and experience, everyday life, right? The things that you can get whenever you actually immerse yourself there, not just go there for a couple of days as a tourist. I don't want to be a tourist. I want to be someone who actually, even if it was like living somewhere for a couple months and then, living somewhere for a couple months, I would love to do something like that and just really, wow, I would love to do that. But until then, this is what we have. So I appreciate, for real, the amount of comments that I've gotten on my other videos and from what you guys have told me and from personal experiences, personal stories that you guys have shared already. It's far more than I imagined. So I greatly appreciate it, and I hope you learned something today. I know I already said that, but I really do. That's it for today. That's it for this one. So if you liked it, that's great. I appreciate it, and if you didn't, that's okay too. I've got no hard feelings towards you if you didn't like it. So my name's Bryson. It's me, Bryson P. I hope you have a good day, good night, whatever time it is that you watch this, and I will see you on another video. Goodbye.